Coming on the air this afternoon with breaking news, SkyCal over a pursuit of an assault with a deadly weapon. Suspect, that brown Scion, at slow speeds in the western part of the San Fernando Valley. Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal. Desmond, slow speeds, but they've already tried a spike and a pit maneuver. All right, looks like we're working on connecting Desmond's audio there, but we can tell you this assault with a deadly weapon happened in Winnetka. Oh, there you go, Des, we got you now.
Yeah, okay, so this assault with a deadly weapon suspect apparently has been rolling down the window to police, letting him know that he is not going to be complying with this. This person, not sure exactly what happened with that assault, but they believe that the suspect is armed with a knife. So that is definitely a complicating factor. There has been talk of a pit and spikes, but we haven't seen any success with that so far. Just kind of been winding around some of these little streets here on the edge kind of Canoga Park, Chatsworth, and Northridge now as we come to a stop. At one point, the suspect was on the sidewalk as well. So that's definitely pretty nerve-wracking. And, you know, we're getting that time of the afternoon, as I believe we're right next to a school where you might have some kids out here walking around. And, yeah, that's a school right there that we're next to off of Shirley and Hatton. So definitely a stressful situation, but at least so far the speeds have not been very high. So we'll see what LAPD's next move is on this one. But again, they have authorized pit and spike, so hopefully that will be able to bring this one to an end, Mike.
Yeah, and Des, Amy Johnson joining us here at the anchor desk. Amy, they are technically in tracking mode right now. We saw a bunch of those units kind of behind the vehicle that they're chasing there, but you saw that LAPD helicopter right on top of it.
Yeah, you know, I was saying earlier that it was kind of surprising how empty the roads were at this time of afternoon, you know, 3 o'clock, when, as Des was saying, so many kids are at school, getting out of school. This is that time. And this driver, fortunately, what we've been seeing while Des has been overhead is that it hasn't reached really high rates of speed, but still very dangerous. And especially because of what this person is wanted for, Mike.
Yeah, and you see this unit, this Topanga unit. Let's see if they're going to do the pit.
Oh, they're going to come in.
Yeah, it's, so close. That would have been not a great spot right there because you had a ton of traffic. But they've been authorized for the pit. They've been trying to do spikes. This person has pretty much just been going up and down the same area of Reseda and Canoga Park here, as Des was talking about. And we do believe that this person may be potentially armed with a knife. We know this was originated from an assault with a deadly weapon call. Those Topanga units have been trying to get this person to stop. As Desmond mentioned, at times he rolls down the window. They talk to him. They tell him to pull over. He waves a hand in a motion saying no thank you, and kind of just continues on here. Now, I will say that the speeds are a little bit higher than what we had been seeing. At one point when we were first launching to this, Amy, they were really, really slow, like in the neighborhood of like less than 5 miles an hour. So certainly a lot faster. Now here comes this unit again, Amy. Let's see, Des.
Might be coming in. Yep.
Close. Second time he's been able to turn away there. But, you know.
Yeah, it seems like he knows what they're trying to do and just kind of made that turn to avoid it. But, I mean, you know, the units are right there, and they've got him from the air as well. So, you know, very little hope of this suspect getting away at this point. And because this is, you know, something that is kind of an alleged violent incident, LAPD not likely to let this one go, as we see him kind of speeding up again, making another attempt, but he's just kind of being a little bit too squirrely for them to be able to come in with that pit. But they are definitely being pretty aggressive with this. We haven't seen this kind of aggressive attack with LAPD in a while, trying to come in again, but just so close. And yeah, and you know what? It's kind of surprising too, because this unit doesn't have that big push bar on the front. That's usually when we see vehicles that are you know, initiating a pit maneuver, they're going to have that big thing on the front that you could use to much more easily push a vehicle. So fairly surprising, but that just kind of speaks to, you know, LAPD really wants to get this one over. You know, I feel like we haven't seen any pits from LAPD in some time. So definitely taking an aggressive tact with this one. And we'll see if that continues to be the case. But, you know, we're getting close to rush hour, and again, school's letting out, so they obviously want to bring this one to an end pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Looks like
wow.
Another turn.
Yeah. And, you know, Amy and Des, the good part for LAPD about this part of the valley is these streets are a lot wider than some parts of the city. So that lends a helpful hand to the LAPD, and they're able to do that. You almost saw him do it in this neighborhood, too, when they got close enough. Unfortunately, though, he was going a little bit too quick. These speeds right now, definitely too fast for a pit maneuver. Remember, police, law enforcement like to do pit maneuvers under 30 miles an hour. You do it much faster than that, you risk the suspect vehicle flipping or, you know, causing some more serious damage. So they don't want to do that. This guy, obviously, though, Amy, as we've been talking about, very keen to the fact that that's what LAPD wants to do. And almost just as soon as they get right up there, he speeds up or he makes a really quick last-minute turn which kind of thwarts the plans of LAPD to be able to get that pit maneuver done. Now we see that unit kind of backing off. So they may have gone kind of back into tracking mode after a couple of failed, attempts there at that pit, and oh, there he is, still coming.
More aggressive there, and that was through those residential streets. That makes it a little more dangerous. And Mike and Des, I don't know if you've heard whether or not there's anyone else in the vehicle. We've got these tinted windows, harder to see. Do we know if there is just that one driver in there?
As far as I know, there's only one person in. Des, I don't know if you've heard any different, but I believe this is only one person. And remember, this is an incident that we believe stemmed from something that happened very recently. This isn't a situation where they kind of ran a license plate and now they're after the person. It sounds like this was a fresh alleged assault with a deadly weapon, which we believe is that knife that person may have. So it sounds like this is all really fresh and they're just trying to get it under control. We do know that they have the license plate of the suspect as well. So obviously they'll run the car and see who the registered owner is. We have not heard that it came back stolen or anything like that. So they may have an idea of who the person behind the wheel is.
Exactly. And joining us now is also our Juan Fernandez, who is also joining us as we continue to watch over this pursuit this afternoon.
Watching this pursuit unfold now here in the streets of Reseda, when I was watching the many attempts at the pit maneuver, those had to have been some of the shortest city blocks I'd ever seen. And just as they were about to do the pit, he made it to another intersection and obviously was able to get away. And very dangerous driving here, not going too fast as you see here, 30 to 35 miles an hour at times. But again, these are residential streets. Desmond was mentioning about kids getting out of school, traffic being a little heavier. And look at this, he's just trying to make his way, threading himself through those two cars right there. Luckily, Mike, we haven't seen any collisions or any attempts or, nothing like that, right? Here we go again.
Yeah, no, and at 50 miles an hour, that's kind of, that's a little bit of a high speed there for a pit attempt. So I don't know if he was actually going to try to do it or just trying to get himself in position. But no damage that we know of. It doesn't look like, and Des, you can see the car better than I can. I don't think there's any damage to the car that I've noticed either. And for the majority of this, the speeds were, look, when we launched Desmond, the speeds were like under 10 miles an hour. So this is certainly a lot faster than the way this thing, so this is certainly a lot faster. And here on the right side of your screen is all of the attempted pit maneuvers that they did. And you see, as soon as that unit gets right there, he feels it, sees it, and makes a turn into a neighborhood or is able to speed up just a little bit. And you can see it. There's almost these pit maneuvers that have happened several times. So LAPD has approved those, obviously, as we're seeing them, and hopefully they'll be able to get into a position where they can actually get them. But for now, we're still continuing through these neighborhoods.
Those were at least 3 attempts, Mike, right? 3 attempts at a pit maneuver, and what's interesting is there's traffic coming in the opposite direction. So if there was a successful pit, there's a chance that there may be a car coming in the other direction who could get involved in all this, and that could be a big problem here, right?
Yeah, and then you see the helicopter as well. In addition to the pit maneuvers, we've also heard them approve spike strips. The problem is this person does not stay consistently really on a road long enough for them to be able to set that up. We've been generally in the same part of town. We're still in the west end of the valley in like the Winnetka, Reseda area, which was kind of where he's been bordering throughout, and that is not far at all from where the assault with a deadly weapon call originally came in. My colleague on the desk in Selma was able to get from LAPD that happened at the 20,400 block of Baltar Street, which, if you're familiar with that area, is basically kind of near Mason and Roscoe. So which we're on Roscoe right now. So not far at all from where, this alleged crime happened and where he's been kind of, going through this parade in the San Fernando Valley. And now, Des, it looks like we don't see any LAPD units that close behind him again, right?
Yeah, they've definitely backed off a little bit. My pilot Dylan up here letting me know that they have kind of backed off a bit. So maybe we'll see if they're going to be kind of changing tactics on this one and just monitoring more from the air and hanging back. Of course, when you do something like that, that is when the suspect kind of has more room to run. If they get out or go into a parking structure or something like that, that is the flip side of, definitely public safety concerns here. You see him come up to that wrong side of the road as they squeeze through Winnetka and Parthenia. You can see, Parthenia, people drive, 50 miles an hour on that street. This guy's just going right through the intersection like this. Totally ridiculous. Just determined to come right through. Really, really close one there. Westbound on Parthenia. I think he's got the window down right now. We can see if we get a decent shot of the suspect while that, and the window goes right back up right as I double in. So westbound on Parthenia, but it really, speaks to the danger as we get into afternoon rush hour right now. You saw that school bus that they went by as well. So just a lot of factors, but backing off a little bit for now. maybe there was a time where the suspect was going around kind of the same neighborhood, and there might have been a good opportunity for a spike strip, but I don't think they were really able to get any set up at that point to be ready for it. As we are now on Oso Street, so on the edge of Winnetka and Chatsworth here, heading northbound. I hear the officers asking right now if they would like to, I think it's the airship asking if they want to re-engage, so we'll see what the watch commander says about that.
Yeah.
And no interest in going towards the freeway either. You would think that would be definitely a safer, quicker way to get away from this area. But as you were saying, Desmond, he's staying in this area here, the West San Fernando Valley. We're in the Winnetka area there, Chatsworth as well. And we're seeing some video from earlier once again. Some very dangerous driving, that left-hand turn as you saw there on Winnetka Avenue and Parthenia Street. Narrowly missing a car, and again, just doing whatever this driver can to get away from police. And again, this is an assault with a deadly weapon suspect that police have been in pursuit of for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, and oftentimes when they say in these close proximities, when they're almost doing circles there, you wonder if they're going to try to jump out, if they're trying to get to a familiar place to where they can run and hide. So this one seems to now be branching out just a little bit more and definitely picking up the speeds here that we're watching right now. Probably some of the fastest driving that we've seen there for a while. And we also see that black and white, that cruiser right up there behind them. And now they're up into a busy intersection here.
He almost knew like he was going to go into those
side.
opposite lanes of traffic, right?
Yeah. This makes it a little more dangerous for everybody else out there on the road.
I heard what I believe. Okay, come on. Let's see if they're going to have an opportunity here, because the airship said this is a good place for a pit.
Oncoming traffic,
though. Just so close, and it's just crazy how privy he is to this. And there we go. Wow, spins him right around.
That was a good one.
There's a great pit maneuver there. Really good, and let's see if this is going to bring it to an end. Amazingly, didn't hit any innocent vehicles or anything, so while it may have done some damage to the cruiser, that was a fantastic pit right there. And this vehicle, kind of with its boxy shape, I feel like was not able to withstand it. And let's see if after all the attitude he gave the officers, the door is open. They're out with their guns drawn, lethal and less lethal, and hopefully that shook some sense into this suspect, and we're going to bring this silliness to an end.
Yeah, you can see that officer down there on the right-hand side there giving him some commands, using his hands as well as to what to do here. So we can't really see him yet. Let's see, he's behind the window. Is he on the ground there, Des?
No, he's still in the
sitting
vehicle.
There,
yeah, let's see here. We're going to peek inside, but we got the door open, so that's one thing. But
all right, here he comes.
So reaching for the waistband.
Door closing again.
And reaching for the waistband right there is not what they want.
Yeah.
They think he's got a knife.
No. Yeah.
He's already been pretty non-compliant.
I mean, that's how.
He's got 1 foot out. Well, he's got 1 foot out. I don't think he's going to
really quickly.
Yeah.
When you start reaching around like that with your tinted windows, you see the officer down there shouting out the commands. And I hear the airship now. They're bringing in more units just to block the street right here on both directions to make sure to keep everyone out of this. Because, as we're entering rush hour, Winnetka, pretty busy street here in the West Valley, kind of actually in the middle of the valley. You see a shoe peeking out, but, yeah, I mean, the jig is obviously up, but the suspect is hesitant to give it up.
Yeah, that pit maneuver almost landed this suspect right into a parking space right there, Mike, right along the sidewalk there. And I think we have that pit maneuver queued up to show our viewers once again. This happened just moments ago here. Here it goes again, and we saw cars going in the opposite direction. Incredible that this officer was able to do that. And look, it just almost backs into a parking spot right there next to, I think, what might be a bike lane, right?
Yeah, it's like textbook. You know, that's exactly what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what they want. And he did get out initially. You wonder if he thought maybe I could make a run for it, but then thought maybe not.
Yeah, there's way too many, law enforcement there on the ground and in the air. And, you would think at this point he would just kind of give up. But, we rarely know what these suspects are thinking and all of that. But, there's less lethal there. There's lethal. There's an airship. They've got this guy, they've got him, and hopefully he'll comply and not make the situation any worse than it already is.
Well, the door's still open, Mike. That foot still touching the ground there, so we haven't seen any extra movement of him trying to get back in there and back the car out of the area there. I'm wondering when they do the pit, does the car somehow, I guess it all depends on how violent the pit was, Does it make the car inoperable at all?
It's designed to disable it,
Yeah.
and so it's designed to stall it out. So when they spin it around, and the sudden switch in direction of the tire is designed to stall the car. Not all cars react that way, but that is the design, and your speed has a lot to do with it.
see.
Now, how long it will stay inactive is I don't believe very long. Once it's in this situation, if he wanted to try to restart it and put it in reverse and get out, he probably could.
Yeah.
That's why when they teach the pit maneuvers in general, and they're not going to do it in this situation because they believe the person's armed and don't want to create a crossfire situation, but in general, you would have the one unit pull to the front of the car like they are, and then you would have an additional unit come in and block it either from the back or the side. That would prevent it from being able to go anywhere.
They never go behind the car.
But they don't want to do that
because
because
of that
yeah,
danger.
you'll be in a crossfire situation if there was gunfire that is exchanged or anything like that. You wouldn't want any officers to be in that line of fire.
Those police cruisers assembled incredibly quick right there. And
really
here we
did.
go. Now it's the waiting game as to when this guy is going to decide to give up. And you see those officers right there giving him hand signals. They're clearly communicating with him. They're pretty close to him, too. So it's impossible for this person, unless they don't speak English, to understand what's going on here, right?
Well, and that's been, so during the chase, they were also communicating with him like this. So he was going so slow, under 5 miles an hour, that the windows were down. The officers were shouting things at him, and he was basically doing the same thing, like, no thanks, I'm good, go away. Obviously, that didn't work out. And now that, what appears to be, I don't know, heated, but at least a passionate conversation there by that suspect towards those officers.
Yeah, and if you can show us a little bit as well, like what is around this car? Is that residential, or are those homes right on the other side of that sidewalk? And what else is around this?
Yeah.
Foot went inside.
Yeah, this is a residential neighborhood right here on Winnetka at Superior. So definitely residential. Just about a mile south of the 118 right now, and Winnetka, a very busy thoroughfare.
Door closed.
Now the door's closing again. Definitely not a good sign. A lot of words being exchanged. Definitely looks agitated. He's, definitely, we had heard about some agitation at the beginning. There was a line as well, some chatter on the frequency that they had reason to believe that the suspect could be under the influence as well. Not sure how, they made that determination, but, if that's the case, they suspect that. They also suspect that this person has a knife, and now the vehicle moving again. Wow. So just, and after such a great pit maneuver and, so many false starts and spinning the vehicle around like that, now he's getting into reverse, and what are they going to do right now? So we thought it was going to be over. It is definitely not over. And now what are they going to do? There's some people there that got kind of close. And, now you're not going to want to do a pit in a small residential area here. But on Superior Street, a lot of people out here walking around. And again, with schools getting out too, very nerve-wracking. So, wow, we'll see how LAPD is going to react to this kind of shocking turn of events.
Yeah, I thought that there were officers on the other side just trying to block the street, but maybe they were down another block down, perhaps, that they couldn't stop them from going down this street. Yeah,
that coordination was coming. They were trying to get additional units to block that, just to block traffic, but it doesn't sound like they had gotten there yet. What'll be interesting to see, and now we're back to super low speeds, which is kind of how we started this. Yeah, right next to a school. But I'll be interested to see if the damage, because there is some damage, I think, on the passenger side where they did the pit. So we'll see if that's impacting the car's ability to do anything kind of crazy here or not. It's hard to tell because this is how this pursuit started where, sounds like 2 flat tires, I think I just heard. So maybe on the passenger side.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Was he just on the phone there too, Des?
He looks like he's texting or something.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he's live streaming this, or it looks like maybe FaceTiming someone. I mean, it's just become way too common for a lot of these suspects to get on social media and start pleading their case, saying they're innocent or whatever, and getting all of this attention. Now that they don't want to pit right now because they're right around this school. And, so now the suspect may be, kind of using that to their advantage right now, but was definitely on the phone. It looked like I could see someone on the screen, maybe like it was either video chatting or live streaming something. The window's down, and getting kind of another view at that right now. But does the suspect have a rap sheet? Or are they just kind of running out the clock because they know they're going to be headed away once this finally does come to an end? But boy, just really the audacity there of kind of faking out the officers opening the door like they're going to give it up. And just kidding, we're still going. So we're on Maria here, Maria at Jovita. in Chatsworth headed westbound.
And we're just showing our viewers there all the different maneuvers this driver did before finally coming to a. Oh, what's going on
they're
here?
Trying to do it again.
They tried. They barely kissed the bumper, and then they lost it. And they're trying to be very cognizant of pedestrians in the area. That school. We've heard them talking about that. So they're trying to take the opportunities where they can, but it's just so residential in the middle of the day. Kids getting out of school.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. You can see they really want it.
Street too. Yeah, a narrow street too as well. I mean, could definitely damage some other. Turning onto the wrong side around that bus, kind of blind as well.
Oh my goodness.
Blind turn there onto the wrong side of the road. Definitely crazy out on Mason Street, kind of a medium-sized street right here. And let's see him come in again. See if they can pin him again.
There we go.
Try making contact. Couldn't quite spin him around at that point, but boy, I mean, it's crazy here. We haven't seen this kind of aggression with LAPD, I feel like, in quite some time. Southbound on Mason Avenue.
And on surface streets too, right? It's very different to see it happen like this right now with so much traffic going on. Narrow streets, as you said, Desmond, we're near schools, we're near homes, and a driver that may be impaired, maybe a DUI suspect too, maybe somebody who has a knife as well. So lots of factors playing in here.
That is exactly why they were trying to pull this person over in the first place, assault with a deadly weapon. That weapon we have heard was a knife perhaps, so they definitely want to get this person off of the road here, but he's really making it difficult for them.
Well,
Back
he's
up
going
on
to
the
stop on his
sidewalk.
own now?
Yeah, you can see. Maybe, and yeah, I mean, he's got those, so we'll see if we can see those tires, but yeah, I can see the rear passenger side is definitely flat. Of course, it's a tree.
good tree.
It's right in front of the tree. Well, yeah, Dylan will get us around it, but you can see the side skirt was damaged there as well on the passenger side of the vehicle. That was kind of starting. So this vehicle has definitely gotten beat up here with the collisions with LAPD as we get around the trees here. Cozy Croft and Plummer here in Chatsworth is where we're at, and let's see, coming to a stop again, if probably realizing that the vehicle doesn't have too much more in it as we maneuver around these trees, and let's see what the next move is going to be for the suspect, if this is finally going to be it or not.
Well, he's parked right behind another car, so
out.
difficult for him to go forward at this point.
No, I can't tell. Was that car already parked there, or did they stop there?
Des, did you say you heard something about throwing the keys out?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if they were instructing him to or if they said that he did. We'll see here as the suspect kind of shaking their head. That vehicle looked like they were already parked right there.
Yeah.
And this, you could see the damage to this vehicle. The rear passenger side is pretty much completely flat as well. So, the writing really on the wall for the suspect here, Cozy Croft and Plummer. And we'll just drop those. And still just kind of sitting there on his phone, talking to somebody or the public on a live stream. But we'll see. I mean, he's going to risk getting, some pretty irritating stuff shot in there like pepper balls or bean bags if they continue. I mean, if LAPD's already been as aggressive with this one as we've seen, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they, start with those tactics as well. And as always, it's going to end in handcuffs one way or another. So you want to have it with, burning eyes and a burning throat or not.
Yeah,
it's kind of up to him.
Wonder if he's making contact with somebody, knowing that he is going to jail, that he's going to need somebody to pick up the car or maybe bail him out later, if that's going to happen today or not.
It did kind of look, when Desmond got a look at him and he was on the phone, it almost kind of looked like he was on FaceTime with somebody. You could almost see that there was a person on the phone. I mean, who knows if it's social media or not, but it did kind of look like he was at least talking to somebody. And what's different about this time is there's no communication between him and the officers, right? Last time they pitted him and he stopped. Oh, door's open.
Right.
Door's opening.
All right. Well, let's see. This is
kind of like a deja vu, right, from just a few minutes ago. Here we go again.
Well, this time he stopped on his own, so hopefully he's going to be more willing to comply.
And you wonder if that was partly because the car was starting to
give out.
He couldn't operate it quite like he was before with those flat tires, but certainly not rushing at all to get out of that car.
Or maybe he's closer to home.
Yeah, true.
Could be that too.
Yeah, we're all still in the same area. I mean, he has not ventured geographically very far at all. This has gone on for a while now, but we're a little bit further north than where we started, but we've just been kind of going just north and south up between like Chatsworth, Canoga Park, and Winnetka. and have not made any kind of large geographical distance, never had any interest in getting on a freeway. He's just been kind of hanging out on these surface streets up and down. And again, all kind of in the same area as where, as he's wiping his face there, he's got a note or a picture in his hand.
Yeah, paper or something,
yeah.
right?
You know, the alleged assault with a deadly weapon also in this area as well. So he's kind of all hanging out in the same area. I really wonder what he's got on that paper there. That's interesting.
Yeah. Desmond, can you let us know exactly where he is now?
Yeah, so we are off of Cozy Croft and Plummer Avenue in Chatsworth. We'll just, while he's sitting there, we'll kind of widen out and get a little bit of a lay of the land here. It looks like, yeah, a business park right here. So, you know, where people are going to be leaving the office, you know, in theory here probably pretty quickly. And so maybe a little bit better than being in a residential area, but I'm sure, you know, those people, LAPD probably telling those people just to stay where they're at, don't attempt to come out onto Cozy Croft at this point. Gotta love that street name there. And as we double back in, yeah, just kind of despondent, just sitting here. Definitely doesn't look happy. Maybe sending some text messages. Mike said looked like he had a note in his hand as well. And the writing is on the wall for the suspect here. Just kind of, I don't know, maybe just needs a few more moments before the inevitable.
Yeah, we can see him right there, kind of moving around a little bit. He definitely seems a lot calmer than he did just a little while ago, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's just no getting away now at this point with the flat tire and the damage to the vehicle. And you know, these little Scions are pretty cool, boxy vehicles, pretty unique, but they're not particularly fast or maneuverable or frankly terribly durable either. And so it's really not surprising to me that, you know, sometimes we see these big trucks and they get a flat tire and they keep going, and then the rubber rips off and they're down to the brake rotor and they keep going, and they're down to the axle and they keep going. And this is not one of those kind of vehicles. So I believe, you know, when this came out as a kind of a bargain basement economy vehicle when it came out maybe 15 or so years ago.
Yeah.
Pretty cool vehicle regardless, but you could see, you know, it was not able to withstand very much from the LAPD as far as, you know, a couple of pit maneuvers there. And so, yeah, just sitting here, I don't know, getting a little bit more sunshine. It is a pretty nice day out here in the West San Fernando Valley, but it makes you wonder if, you know, they're going to move in at some point, or if we're going to start to see some pepper balls fired in there, or if they're going to, you know, get the canine.
Yeah.
That could be another thing that they could do. Just don't even have to necessarily release them. Just get the dog all riled up here and barking, and it could be a very effective technique to get one of these suspects to finally surrender before, you know, they get a big chunk of their arm taken out or something. So reaching for something. Is that the phone again? Oh, water, thirsty, a little bit thirsty out here.
We're showing people on the right side of the screen there what has happened to get us to this point. That was the first pit maneuver where it was a perfect pit maneuver, but then he did take off again. We're showing a second attempt of a pit maneuver, but that one didn't work quite as well. But then this driver, who is wanted on assault with a deadly weapon, then just kept going and eventually pulled right behind this other car, you know, and now sits there not wanting to get out of the car despite all of the officers being right behind him and that car in front of him, so he can't really go anywhere.
The big difference here, it looks like at least two of the tires are flat, so that made getting around a little more difficult there. And as you mentioned, Amy, he kind of made that right-hand turn and just parked underneath this tree right behind this other car that's already in the area now. We've seen him fiddle around with a note. He's had some water. He's been on the phone, and now looks very calm. He's looking over his shoulder to see what's going on. I guess he's just trying to figure out when he's going to be taken away in handcuffs here. And obviously officers are talking to him. I see him shaking his head a little bit left and right, perhaps like saying no, but we'll see what's going to happen here. It looks like, Mike, it's just him in the car, right? Are you getting any more information there on the desk?
No, just him in the car. We haven't heard anything else. I also was noticing just his demeanor has changed so much in just a couple of minutes. From the time they did the pit maneuver to the time he pulled over, something definitely switched where he is much calmer. Now, I would say the only downside to that is it does not appear that he's having any dialogue with LAPD. So, you know, hopefully any hopes of them being able to like negotiate him to come out or anything like that, who knows? It doesn't appear to be having any effect because he's not engaging with them like he was before. It also makes you wonder, if he was on the phone with somebody, did that person say something that got him to pull over, that got him to kind of cool down a little bit, that relaxed him some? Because we went from this, no, absolutely not, I'm not going to pull over, I'm yelling at you while I'm driving, I'm taking off after pit maneuvers, to all of a sudden I'll pull over on my own and I'm just going to sit here. So a much different kind of tone from this guy. Now it looks like he is conversing at least a little bit with the officers. You see him kind of moving his hand back and forth there, talking back to them. We'll see. LAPD, I know they called for a shield. And so a shield is something that they obviously will have if they want to approach somebody that they potentially think is armed. So they could do that, use that for a number of things. They could use it just to pull him out, which is unlikely because of the fact that they think he's armed. There you see him talking to them. But they could also do it where they'll bring in a spike strip and just lay one in front of his tires.
That's what I thought too.
Exhaust.
And he kind of showed his hands, right, Mike? He kind of lifted both his hands up to show that he had nothing in his hands there.
And I do hear the airship. Offering up the use of K9. So K9, the way LAPD works is they don't have just a singular K9 car that will come out. They roll as a TAC, as a group. They come from Metropolitan Division. So if they did request K9, we would probably see 4 or 5 K9s all rolled together.
So K9's not there yet?
K9 is not here, no. They do it a little bit differently. A lot of agencies just kind of have K9 units that will be on regular patrol. LAPD doesn't function that way. They have a whole team of K9s that will come as a unit from Metropolitan Division. So the airships, and it sounds like the watch commander did approve to start rolling K9.
Here we go. Look, he's coming out. Let's see what happens next.
Moving quite slow.
Yeah.
To get out.
And Mike, you're talking about that shield, the fact that we know he possibly may be armed. That's the reason you don't see officers just kind of bum rush the car and pull him out, right?
Yeah, for sure. If this was somebody who's wanted for maybe traffic violations or a DUI, something like that, then they may, be a little bit more kind
aggressive,
more aggressive coming up and getting them. But because they have reason to believe he's armed, we also don't know the assault with a deadly weapon. We're working to figure out what was that. Did he actually injure somebody? Was somebody hurt? Was this, more of a brandishing type thing? We're still working on those details. But basically, they have all of that information from the original call. So hard to tell what they know and why, they want to take this stance. But look, you've got, Des, if you pan up just a touch, you got the guy with the green there. That's a foam bullet round. That's less lethal. Then you've got a guy with a shotgun there. That's obviously lethal rounds. And then you've got a whole series of other ones. And then you see the bald officer there in the driver's seat of 373, shop 373. He's the one that's doing the communicating with the suspect. So you see him. He's talking, and they'll do that. They only want one person to communicate with this guy so that they're, kind of coordinating the effort here. You don't want multiple officers, giving commands or yelling at the guy or trying to negotiate. So that officer is the one that was been tasked with that. You can see that they are at least starting to have some sort of dialogue while all of his partners have both less lethal and lethal cover as he communicates with them.
I was wondering when Desmond was showing us the police cars, I was wondering if maybe they were using the car doors as a little bit. Oh, he's coming out. He's coming out.
Oh.
Yeah, let's see. All right.
He's looking back a little bit.
The best that we've seen. I heard them request an ambulance as well. They want to just kind of have all of their bases covered in case something does happen if they have to use the less lethal on the suspect or or a canine or something, even though the canines would still be quite a ways away if that was necessary. But slowly but surely, it does look like he understands what's going on here. He's just kind of been sulking. I mean, really since they stopped.
Here we go.
But now coming out, and now there we go. Now out. And finally beginning to comply. Let's see, they're going to ask him probably to move out to the middle of the road, probably walk back a few steps or get down on his stomach, and then they will come down and kind of clear the vehicle as they take him into custody at the same time. So down on the pavement, and after all of those maneuvers that we saw earlier, several pit maneuvers, looks like this is finally going to be coming to an
It's
end.
incredible how compliant he became just in the last few minutes there. His feet are crossed. I know that's one of the orders that they do. His hands are...
It looks like he still has something in his hand. I'm guessing, is that a cell phone? I don't know.
Maybe that paper he was hanging on to.
Car
the
keys
paper?
too,
still something in his hands, but he is definitely complying now.
In his right hand, right, Amy?
Correct.
Yeah. I
He
can
had
see
something
it too.
in his hands.
Might
I
be
just
the
couldn't-
paper.
And what when we originally started this, it was assault with a deadly weapon, but that deadly weapon we were hearing was a knife. So you just want to make sure that that's not what's in his hand and that it is, in fact, paper or a cell phone, something other than a knife in his home.
Yeah, and you see them clearing the car there on the left. They're going to do that, make sure there's no surprises in there. And then you have an arrest team, which is a separate set of officers walking up now to take him into custody. So there's the shield I was talking about. So they're using that, even though only one officer is behind it. They'll get him cuffs on him and take him into custody. And something that could have ended much worse is going to end in the best way possible.
Look at that, both hands now in handcuffs there, and they're going to be raising him up here in just a second. Again, now after wanting to get away from police for quite a bit, very compliant now. They're checking his pockets, maybe even looking for that knife, Mike, unless...
For sure.
Okay, what was that?
Yeah, well, so that's the officer that was negotiating with him.
Yeah,
so
see the red thing that he kicked out?
And that paper is in his hands. So the bald officer is the one that was negotiating with him. To me, that kind of looked like a good job, thanks for doing the right thing, kind of, making the best of a bad situation. But yeah,
that's the whole psychology of it too, right?
Right.
What is that? See what Des has circled? It's something red. It might be a box cutter or something.
Maybe that pocket knife, possibly. That's what they were. He was suspected to have had a knife, and there you go. You see the officer.
There you go.
Yeah, bagging it up right now, whatever that is. But it definitely looked like it could have been a switchblade knife or something like that was closed in its holster. So there we go. We officially have the code 4 all clear. They're going to come and see what else they can find inside the vehicle, if there's anything illegal or any other weapons in there. But it only ended with some damage to this little Scion XB. No injuries and no innocent people involved. So overall, a pretty good job here by LAPD.
Yeah, and you know what a code 4 means? That means we're wrapping up our coverage here. We're going to have the very latest on this, plus all the day's news coming up in just a little bit when Amy Johnson and I and Mike Rogers join you for KCAL News at 4 o'clock. Thanks for watching, everybody.